Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you are doing well, and it's time for a weekly track roundup. My thoughts, my feelings, my ideas, my expressions, everything that I have felt about a bunch of songs that have dropped over the past week or so. They're all linked down below, whether I loved them or hated them or felt somewhere in between. That's the deal. Also linked down below, our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from it if you happen to use it to buy some records, some turntable stuff, whatever supports the channel. Thank you if you do that. Also, our Patreon page. Yes, we also have that going as well. Some extra bonus monthly content for very cheap monthly tiers. Check that out. And our YouTube Shorts page. And also our website with a regularly updated news section. Heck yeah. All right, worst tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. They are as follows. Let's do it. Bam. First, we have this Royel Otis track, Car, new album on the way. And I'm just not really getting this song or this sound. I mean, I feel like this sound happened. It's like a glossier, blander version of like the twangy, atmospheric, lo-fi indie rock revolution of the early 2010s, which, I mean, when it happened, it was okay. But now I feel like we're getting it, but just with less edge to it now. What's the point? Let's keep going. All right. We also have Rick Ross teaming up with Pharrell for the Money. And I feel like this is not really Rick Ross's beat. Nor is it Pharrell's beat. It's kind of got like a vaguely reggaeton or dance hall kind of thing, but then the bass is super aggressive and doesn't really complement the rhythm all that well. I just don't really feel like either artist is playing to their strengths on this track. Undoubtedly, both very, very talented artists, but sort of a kind of experimental song for each of them. This is not their usual sound, and I feel like neither of them are, doing it much justice. We also have Shaboozey and Big X the Plug teaming up on this Home track, which is just a super, just offensively bland rap and country hybrid. I don't know why we're getting like these completely soulless, just formulaic combinations of rap and country all over the place right now. They're so inoffensive, and they're just so I don't know. It feels like I'm listening to the musical equivalent of like a Mad Lib. It's just like, the same generic thing, the same generic sound over and over, and we're just kind of like plugging in slightly different words and terms, just kind of like fill in the gaps each time, just to make each variation of this same boring formula just slightly different each time. I'm done with it. All right, and we also have Logic, Bleed from his forthcoming side quest project, and he is side questing. He's doing a bunch of stuff that we wouldn't normally hear him do, and he's kind of, I don't know, doing what feels kind of like a bad Cardi ripoff or something on this track. Again, another artist who is undoubtedly talented, just not really playing to his strengths and doing something kind of goofy instead. And we also have speaking of goofy and also speaking of rap country combinations, this track, White Noise, off of Joyner Lucas's forthcoming ADHD 2 record, just sounds like a goddamn Dax song. What is this? I mean, I sort of see where he's coming from with the lyrics of the song, which are fairly focused, around sort of like attention deficit disorder and needing distractions and white noise and constant distractions in everyday life. But like, man, I'm just so over this sound, this rap sung country sound. It's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. All right. Meh. Tracks I was on the fence with, not in love with them, but hey, still thought they were worth shouting out, and you might like them more than me. They are as follows. We have this new one over here from Wet Leg. Not super crazy about this single, but I have enjoyed, a couple of tracks that the band has been teasing toward their next album with. This one, Davina McCall, kind of sounds like if you played Chop Shop with Smashing Pumpkins 1979 and wrote ultimately a less memorable song with the parts he pulled out of it. It's just kind of okay. It's all right. It's passable. We also have this one over here from Blood Orange, which I'm kind of blown away by the features on this track. We have Tariq Al-Sabir, the legendary art rock group, the Durutti Column, Caroline Polachek, and Daniel Caesar. I'm not entirely aware of like what everyone's involvement or connection to this track is, so I can't really speak to that. But what I will say is like the end result is not as varied or as interesting as you might expect looking at the features on the song. And in fact, I would say the track is quite bland, even by Blood Orange's typically atmospheric and dreamy standards. Yeah, it's just kind of okay. But, you know, always crazy to see the Durutti Column getting a shout out here and there. We also have over here a new one from Laufey, Lover Girl, still kind of doing that jazzy, playful, bossa nova, jazzy bossa nova ballad thing. And, you know, it's cute. It's adorable, but, you know, I wouldn't say it has much appeal for me beyond that, as, you know, the jazz chops are just kind of like, okay. The vocals are okay. And it's a shame. I have been enjoying what I've been hearing, up to this point with the teasers for this forthcoming album. But hey, you know, I'm still looking forward to the record, and it does sound sort of like a step up from what we did here on the last album, especially with like some of those synced up, you know, instrumental breaks in between the verses and the choruses. I do like those changes and, you know, switch overs. But once we kind of settle into the verses, I don't know, more or less kind of neutral on it. All right, we also have Kesha, who, you know, in all the teasers to this forthcoming album has really been trying to go back and reconnect with that older, wilder version of herself that was like, you know, that brash pop badass from the early 2010s that just had like an attitude that no other singer on the scene had. And, you know, for the most part, I think she's done a really good job of kind of like reigniting that sort of fire. On the song The One, I would say maybe she's like flying a little bit too close to the sun, because the instrumental, the vocals just feel so derivative of that time period. I mean, you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with reheating your own nachos, but it just feels so close for comfort to the point where I don't know, it's just giving me deja vu, and it feels like it's not really necessarily adding anything, you know, to her catalog and to her sound, to sort of like be copying herself over so hard in this particular way. But I don't know. I'm kind of not too crazy about it. We also have Igorrr, who's hitting us with a brand new single over here, one titled Infestis, which I think is like one of the, I guess I would say, look, the singles for this album so far have been very kooky, very all over the place, quite varied, very frantic. And that's kind of Igorr's appeal. You have these wild and outlandish mixes of metal and electronic music and sometimes opera and other goofy stuff that's kind of like thrown in randomly in a somewhat cheeky Mr. Bungle kind of style. But I think this new one over here is actually maybe one of the more straightforward and, you know, strictly metal cuts from the forthcoming album so far. It's got a lot of groove metal riffs, some death metal elements as well, some electronic flares here and there kind of popping up. That read is kind of tacky to me, but they are there in a much more subtle capacity than they are on other Igorrr tracks. Yeah, you know, for the most part, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I guess just expect a somewhat tamer single this time around if you give this one a listen. We also have Haru Nemuri, who on this latest string of singles has really been experimenting. And sometimes I found it exciting. Sometimes I've been kind of on the fence with it. This track, Symposium, is hitting us with elements of, hardcore electronic dance music. We have like rap verses. We have, lush instrumentation surrounding it all. Some passages are really intriguing. Some vocally especially come across a little awkward. It's all over the place, but it sort of seems like she's just locked into this, experimental era at the moment, and we're just going to see where the dust settles when all is said and done, I suppose. All right, we also have a new one from IDK and Corday, which is titled Prince George, and it's fine. It's okay. If you like some decent beats and decent bars, nothing too mind-blowing, you're going to vibe with this one for sure. It's quite palatable, I'll say that. And we also have a track over here from Debbie Dawson, an artist that I'm just kind of becoming familiar with through this single. And really kind of bringing back some old school 80s vintage synth pop vibes on this one, but with kind of like a playful, cheeky, Sabrina Carpenter self-awareness about what she's doing as well, very girly pop. And it's quite fun. It's pretty decent. It's not necessarily, I think, like bringing anything super new or vibrant or exciting to the modern pop landscape at the moment. But, there's definitely like a lot of potential here. And as far as 80s revivalism goes, it's done pretty well. It's done pretty well. All right, we have a new one from Anamanaguchi over here. Their forthcoming rock album is going to be on the way very soon. And this latest single from it, Magnet, it kind of sees the band playing with a little bit of shoegaze, a little bit of grunge. The main riff of the whole thing just sounds very, very, very Nirvana, Nevermind-esque. I wish the vocals were a bit stronger, that there was like more presence to the instrumentation. Once they kind of like switch out of that main riff, the track sort of seems to like lose its teeth once they kind of like, go past that intro and the heavier passages on the song. But, if you're looking for some vintage rock, this track definitely serves it up unabashedly. That's for sure. All right. And also Alex G has quite a sleepy new single on here, June Guitar. It's chill. It's acoustic. It's nice on the ears, but definitely not doing anything as bold or as memorable as the first single. I'll say that. All right, best tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. They are as follows. Let's do it. We have a new one over here from Underscores, who with this new track music is once again embracing a much more pure pop sound, not so much the rock influences from the last album, which I thought were spectacular. I feel like these tracks are almost coming from like a post-hyper pop framing, if you could even call it that. I feel like this project, again, like it sounds so much stronger as a blend of electronic music and pop and rock, but kind of stripping it down to electronic music and pop and just being much more straightforward with those more accessible elements of the Underscore sound. I feel like it's fine. It's okay. We've definitely had a banger here. I feel like this is the best single that I've heard since kind of the project has taken a much more staunch pop stance. I'm just kind of hoping that future singles have maybe a bit more bite to them. But hey, you guys know I mess with some music, so I had to get music over in the best singles section. All right, we also have a shout out to Snõõper, who has a brand new EP out. Egg Punkers, Snõõper. In the Dark is the first track from it. And on this new batch of tracks with this EP, the band is like, taking their very direct, lo-fi, noisy synth punk sound and making it much more like heavy with effects and psychedelic and noisy and chaotic. And this track, I can at least say, is most certainly a banger from the EP. It's short. It's, again, chaotic. It's in your face. In the Dark is the title. It's quite fiery. All right, we also have Silvana Estrada, Mexican singer-songwriter, coming through with wonderful guitars, beautiful vocals, enchanting songwriting on this new track over here. Leah Alelí, I apologize for not pronouncing that correctly, but still, beautiful, stunning tune. Loved Silvana's last full-length record. Very much looking forward to the next one. Surely is going to be one of the best and most beautiful singer-songwriter albums of the year. So take note Take note, perk those ears up for Silvana Estrada. All right, we also have the Nia Archives remix of Illegal, PinkPantheress, and it's even more badass and fiery and just like filled with great beats and breaks, high energy, very playful. Love hearing these two team up. They're quite the pair. I would love to actually hear Nia do some production on like a future PinkPantheress single or record. This remix is so fire. I actually like this remix more than the original, which is crazy. So pretty happy about that. All right. Moving on from there. Shout out to Missouri Executive Order 44, who are coming through off of a new split with, just like a very raw, mutant, wild, all over the place noise rock sound. If you enjoy hearing, some frantic 2000s noisecore, maybe a little bit of Jesus Lizard, that sort of thing, with the nutty ass lead vocals. If I could characterize them that way, you're going to dig on what this band is doing. You're going to dig on this split. So give this thing a listen. Twister of 79 is the name of the track. It's a badass cut, short, sweet, fiery, again, chaotic, all over the place. Loving the energy the band is bringing. All right. And Mac DeMarco coming through with his forthcoming album, Guitar, which, doesn't actually just feature guitar. He has made albums that just feature guitar before, but, this new single of his, Home, actually does, feature vocals and kind of formal songwriting. And it's an interesting, intimate little ballad for Mac, where he's kind of, going over the isolated state his life has kind of been in as of late and how he just kind of prefers it to be that way. He's getting up there in age. He's becoming an even more chill dude, and he just wants to chill at home with his guitar and be a chill bro. It's what Mac wants. So he's writing songs about it, and it's endearing for sure. And it's a lovely, chill little ballad too. So I'm liking it. All right. We also have Polo, brand new bop from frickin' Kim Petras, who is embracing a production that definitely has a big Sophie influence, like especially with those like scraping, metal samples and effects dropped into the beat. Some crazy vocal harmony work on the track as well. It is absolutely insane. It is quite explosive. It kind of feels like, she's borrowing a lot of influence from the Charlie Vroom Vroom era, that sort of thing, but just like with more detail, more musical nuances with the harmonies, and just like more explosivity, I would say, just building off of a very interesting time for hyperpop. I'm liking it. All right, and we also have this new track from, I need to learn how to say this band's name. Tell me in the comments, please. I apologize, and I will look at the comments and I will learn. Sanguisugabogg, Abhorrent Contraception. Listen, I've heard a lot of tracks from this band before. They are quite notorious in the extreme metal scene for, being a little out there, having a sense of humor, being some crazy boys. And, I felt like prior, up until this point, their material has been okay. It's been passable. It's been fine. But this new track over here, I feel like is the best they've ever sounded. The drumming on this track is absolutely insane. The riffs and some of the riff transitions in the second half, the din 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 is like some crazy shit that you don't usually hear a band of this genre, which, you've got a lot of extreme elements in this thing between the spectrum of grind and death metal and so on and so forth. And not usually a groove you hear from a band like this, and they pull it off so well. A lot of details, a lot of transitions. Plus, there's an interesting music video to this track that like calls back to Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun video, which is pretty hilarious. But shout out to these guys. Sick track, sick video, and it's actually got me legit excited for their next album. And last one over here, shout out to bbno Money, who is teaming up with Ironmouse for this 1-800 track. A lot of cute, endearing refrains on this cut. bbno Money is doing his usual sort of like laid back rap monotone style. And while it's very simple, it sounds real cool. And, you have a very kind of like bumping, straightforward dance beat with some hip hop elements in there as well. It's your usual baby no money formula, I would say, up until this point. But I feel like those added extra, you know, sort of like elements, especially from Ironmouse, do kind of break things up a bit, make it quite fun, make it quite silly and colorful. And yeah, it's a bop. It's a bop of a bop. And that's going to be that weekly track roundup, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and that is going to be the video. Hopefully you got some good recommendations out of it. Comment, subscribe, like the video. I'll see you in the next one, and you're the best. Anthony Fantano, weekly tracks, forever.